listen how this man, this Fulani man, took his time to analyze why they are invading eastern part of Nigeria called Biafra. Take your time and listen and watch till the end, and you see why, as this man took his precious time to analyze how the Sahel has dried up, and that is the reason why the Fulanis are invading our land, raping our women, killing our children, and grabbing our land. Just take your time. And after watching this video, of course, not all the people, all the commentators, but this particular Fulani man, you will shed tears.
Well, Dr. Ado, whilst, just one more thing for you. Now, there are those who think that, now, if this takes care of the sedentary lifestyle of the herders, what happens to those who usually who are mobile? Will this also take care of the mobile lifestyle of the herders? And then there are those who also say, look, they also have cattle, but they're not necessarily Fulani. Will this, or do you think this should be extended to such persons as well?
First, it is not an ethnic issue. It's a social issue. And therefore, whosoever has cattle and he is roaming, he should be settled, whether he is Fulani or he is not Fulani. And what's the first question, please? If you can kindly repeat.
I was saying that if this is going to take care of the sedentary lifestyle of the herders, because yesterday we were made to understand that there are almost two categories of herders, those who are sedentary and those who are mobile. So if this takes care of those who, well, are sedentary, what about those who are mobile, who usually like to move no matter what? Will this or should this take care of that?
Yeah, I think in the first place it is them that this policy should first work on. That is, they should stop roaming around. The settlers, the sedentary Fulanis are already settled. Most of them have their own ranches. My father had his own ranches, and the ranches were there, except if on demand for manure, that he will now open the ranch and then allow the cattle to go and stay a day or two or three for the purpose of giving manure to those who demand. But by and large, his cattle are ranched and are kept in one place, and then food being brought, to the cattle. This is what we expect the federal government, the policymakers of Nigeria to resolve. Those who are roaming around, stop them, ranch their places. You see, human needs land. Land doesn't expand. Human beings expand. Why are we even in this problem in the first place? We are in this problem because the areas that these people used to dominate, that is the Sahel and the arid zone around the Chad Basin, these places have dried up as a result of climatic change. Two, there is also another issue that we have, the federal government of Nigeria has overlooked for years, and it is part of the problem. The drying up of our major rivers and their tributaries. For example, the Benue River. The head of the Benue River is in the Cameroon, is in Lagdo, and that we were, and by the United Nations and the League of Nations, and before then the Anglo-Germans agreement on the usage of this river, the Lagdo River, is that no country in which the river traverses shall use this land, shall use this river in any way or form or manner that will affect the other part of the other country. But right before us, the country of Cameroon, they built Lagdo Dam and blocked the river, the water of the Benue. And the Benue sort of dried up during rainy season, and its tributaries, the Sidaki River, Gongola, Makale, Maine, Donga, Taraba, Kasina Ala rivers. These are the major tributaries of the Benue River. They have, as a result, also dried up. So pastures need water in order, to blossom, and hearts need pasture and water in order to live. So when the Boko Haram came, when Lake Chad dried up, when the Lagdo was established, when the other parts of lands in that area have been taken as a result of development by state or federal government, you have left the herders with absolutely no option than to move southwards. Southwards, to the savannah area around the Benue, and even down to the forest zone, up to the southeast, and so it is as a result of these poor policy options of the country over the years since 1983. Lagdo was built, and some of us spoke on these things when we were growing up. The Benue River used to be not only a source of water for pastures, but it was also used for navigation. The Europeans used the Benue River to navigate and go into the interior and conquer us. Yet we have allowed the Cameroon to dry it up at the height of the rainy season. When the water overflows the dam, they open the gates, and then the water comes out, and then it becomes flood in our country.
All right, Dr. Ado,
so we need to approach this thing holistically.
Yes, sir. Point taken. But let me quickly get to Senator Jeff. Senator, many people are objecting to this idea of Ruga settlement, but a number of people are also saying it's more that this issue is becoming more political than social, that the basis for these conversations is some political elements trying to fuel up antagonism against it. How do you react to that?
Well, I'm certainly not one of those, and I think it would be unfortunate if we bring politics to bear on this, because for me, it's more of a security issue, it's more of a survival issue than it is of a political. Okay, go to Benue, for instance. I've already told you there are thousands of people in the IDP camps. Now, suddenly some billboards, some signboards appeared as the Ruga settlement. And you are talking about building schools for them, building all of this. Why these people are languishing without any government interference in terms of looking to their welfare. Certainly, those kind of people, those people will not accept that kind of arrangement. I mean, it's unfair. It's a natural human thing. They will not accept it. So I don't know about politics here. I know about poor policy decisions and lack of articulation of what exactly the federal government wants. Because I've already said at the beginning of this program that the federal government itself has not come out clearly to articulate itself on what exactly they want to do and how they want to go about it. And until that is done, people will continue to suspect the motives, the intention, or at least the actions of the government.
There is a clearly defined plan in the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which I'm sure you are well aware is a 10-year plan, which includes cattle ranching. How does that plan differ from Ruga settlements, in your opinion?
Well, I wish I knew. You see, I had taken it to be the same thing because when I looked at the livestock plan, and especially the similarities to this present arrangement, I took it for granted that it was the same thing until the office of the vice president came out to distance themselves from the Ruga arrangement and said, there's the one the vice president is presiding over or is overseeing is the livestock plan and not this one. And then I began to ask myself, what exactly is going on? If these are two different things, then somebody should explain to us what exactly is talking about. They are talking about. So I, even at my level, I don't really understand because I have to be made aware that these are either the same thing or they are two different things.
One last one, Senator. So what do you think the National Assembly can do as far as this issue is concerned that will lay everything to rest?
Well, maybe something happened in the 6th Assembly, in the 8th Assembly. I was a member of the House of Representatives and the chairman House Committee on Rules and Business. And several bills came on my table to process. about 3 of them seeking to establish ranches, 1 open grazing or grazing roads. And I advised that, look, considering the position of the Land Use Act, you cannot sit in Abuja and make a law that will cover the entire country, because the lands are in the custody of the state governors. And so we put them in the cooler. And so the best that we can do at this level, in my opinion, is to advise the federal government to by way of policy, to interact with the state governments as is going on, to advise them to take local arrangement, to come up with local arrangement, as I've been insisting here, to come up with local arrangement that will resolve this problem. And Benue State and Taraba State and Ekiti State have clearly indicated that you can localize this thing without having to insist that it be done across the country. So at least for now, we are all agreed that ranching is the solution. If ranching is the solution, should ranching come from the federal or should it be done at the local level? My answer is that it should be done at the local level, considering the legal framework that we have in place.
Well, Senator, you have heard, I don't know if you have, about, the political implications as well. You have said you don't know anything about politics, but even what you have stated in terms of the imbalance that has been perceived to be, to come forth from this implementation of the plan, the fact that people will be settled, schools will be built, hospitals will be built, and things of the sort, is already political in nature. And people are saying that perhaps there's also an element of bias against a certain ethnic group, and that's the reason why many states, many communities in the Middle Belt are kicking against this.
Well, if you call that politics, I agree, but I was looking at it from the point of view of survivor and welfare. If that is politics, the political angle that you're talking about, I agree, because I already cited the example of Benue, where people are staying in IDP camps, and suddenly they will see, development springing up to come and settle people. I mean, certainly that will not sit well with such people when they see that kind of thing happening. These people are farmers. Benue State, for instance, is known as the food basket of the nation, and they have been yanked away from their farmlands and are staying in sordid conditions. Let's
not forget, Senator, that there has also been the issue when Benue State came up with the law promulgating ranching. There was also an accusation of bias against the state, that the state was biased against the Fulani ethnic group. How do you respond to that in the middle of this?
No, that's not true, because if you look at that law, it says it prescribes punishment, equal punishment against rustling of cattle, meaning that the herders too are protected. If you rustle cattle, the punishment would be the same as somebody who refuses to, a herder that refuses to comply with the ranching law. So it's because maybe they don't understand, they have not gone through the law. It protects both sides.
Dr. Ado, let me quickly take you up on this. Now, there are those who are saying that these settlements that are being planned, that they're going to take up quite a bit of land. Some people made reference to Ladoga, the Ladoga settlement in Kaduna State, and they say that there could be political implications in future, because when you settle down a group of people, they will not remain static. They will give birth, they will reproduce, and after a while, they will call that land their own. And you already referred to the settler-indigene dichotomy, which as a country, we have not been able to sufficiently address. That has caused many communal conflicts, even in our just recent past. How do you suggest that this suspicion be addressed, even as this policy is being thought of, in terms of settling those who did not have land before, but will eventually become landowners as a result of this policy?
Yeah, okay. Now, I want you to look at it from the perspective that all human beings, anywhere in the world, we are product of migration. There is no human being that germinated from the earth like the grass to say that we own the land. It is over time that when you stay over time, that you say, okay, we own the land. Are you now saying that those who come first have it, and those who come last don't? Will you remain as a settler forever in a place, even when you settle 1,000 years and somebody has been there 1,100 years earlier? No. So we must learn to live as a people. We must learn to accept ourselves. And nobody, as I said earlier, germinated from the soil like the grass. So nobody can say that we own this land and it is for us in perpetuity. No, nobody. Now, why is the United States today opening to immigration? Because they came by way of immigration. Immigration is the basis.
They're closing their borders now to immigrants.
No. They are closing borders to illegal immigrants, but not to legal immigrants. So, and if you close the border to illegal immigrants, we should close, the border for illegal herding. We shouldn't allow herding people to go like that. I have said it in 2009 in Adamawa State when I first declared to contest. I said that we are going to stop, open oscillation. We will settle the herders and ranch their cattle and keep them forever in one place. And over a period of 100 years, if, like, say, I am settled in Benue, and I went there with my family, we are settled. After 100 days, a TV man will not say, "Doctor, you are not from here." I would say, what do you mean? I'm not from here, I'm here. I can contest election, I can do anything. So our people have refused to allow mingling, to allow settlement. And this thing started since 1986 from the Kafanchan crisis. Settler phenomena in Kafanchan, Zango Kata, Kaduna, and this. And like this, so this opposition is just a continuation of this, settler indigenous dichotomy. Though there are a certain group of people who had migrated, to their area of settlement earlier than others, and they said those who come next should not settle. Those who come next are not landowners. They are the landowners. Yet they may have also, when they went there, they may have also moved others. So it is what they call riders and refugees. You come, you meet them, you push them, they come, they meet you, they push you. That is how life has been. And it is not just only in Nigeria, it is across the world. So we must accept this human phenomenon and then imbibe it in our system and then use it, to stay in peace and development.
You think that acceptance alone will solve this issue of settler-indigenous dichotomy, which is possibly where most of the fear is coming from and the suspicion that is trailing this Ruga settlement?
I don't know where things went out of hand. In Benue, for instance, the Tiv people and the Fulanis were the best, had the best of relationship. No problem, they intermarried, there was no problem until a new species of herders came on the scene. The violent type came on the scene, and you saw killing started taking place and all of that. I think this is what brought about this this suspicion. It's not as if for the average Benue man would not want a Fulani man to be there. But when you have people who carry AK-47 going around and at the least provocation, they start killing, certainly that would throw up the kind of scenario that we now have. So that is why some time back, about 2 years back, I called that these people must be disarmed. I mean, you find some of them stringing AK-47 and going around with their cattle. I mean, when that sort of thing happens, the local community will be scared of having them around. These are not the people we lived with. These are not and the president himself at a point, I think when he traveled outside, he considered to the fact that you even have a fallout of the crisis in the North African area pouring into our country with these arms. And so it should bother us who is coming into our borders. Let's not just because these people, they are Fulanis, whether they are outside or whatever, we must protect them. We are Nigerians first and foremost. And so we should protect ourselves against those people who are coming in, especially coming in with arms, that is leading to the kind of banditry, killings, and everything that we now have on our hands.
What I hear here is that there needs to be differentiation between the Nigerian Fulani and the outsider Fulani. Is that what I don't know.
That is critically important. That is critically important because whether we like it or not, we now have boundaries that were created for us by the Europeans. We now have a country called Nigeria. So you can't, for instance, come from in outside country and be given the same treatment as Nigerians, or sometimes preference over other Nigerians. That too, I don't think is the way to go.
Doctor, do you think that is there a way we can actually do that?
Yeah, surely. Because even though they are all Fulanis, but the dialect differ a little. If a Fulani man from Senegal is talking to me, I will hear him, but there are a lot of words that I will not understand what he's saying. He will understand me, but there are a lot of words that he will not understand what I'm saying. So there is, this kind of distinction that will make us know that this man is not from here and this man is from here. But besides, we don't even really need to do that if the state is functioning. We have immigration. Who is the responsibility to ensure that nobody comes into the country illegally? We have the Nigerian customs, who ensures that nobody must come into this country with a contraband and a weapon.
But
it's
Doctor,
a contraband.
We know that these people do not take conventional routes. They don't go through border posts.
That is why we have the immigration. It is the responsibility of the immigration to man all our borders. It is the responsibility of government to establish the immigration department in such a strength that it has the capacity to man all our borders.
Do you think that if we're able to differentiate between the two, do you think that the suspicion would reduce?
Yeah, well, this is, to me, I would say the whole thing is political. The Fulani man there's already suspicion. And if you look what is being said about the Fulani man all this while, that, oh, he is a jihadist, a genuine, and so on and so forth. That just because in the 18th, 19th century, the Fulanis waged a jihad, established a caliphate, and various emirates and so on, it is referred to that now if you give them a small portion of land here, over time they will do, as somebody wrote in, said, it's going to be another, in Kwara State. There was one, I can't remember the name of the Fulani leader who established the Ilorin Emirate, but that he will do that and so on and so forth. So it is a mindset already put on the Fulanis, whether he is a Nigerian Fulani or he is a Chadian Fulani or he is a Senegalese Fulani. And besides, Nigeria has the largest number of Fulanis in the world.
Can it be broken down, the suspicions, this defense already built up around, that's the question I'm asking. Can it be broken down if the Nigerian government said, look, this is just for our own people. This is not for people who are coming from the outside. Because people believe that people who are coming from the outside, even the people here, have said that these people are the violent ones. It's not the ones whom we've lived with for a long time.
Even here, there are two types of Fulanis. There are the settled Fulanis, as said by Chamberlain over there in Lagos, and there are, is it how he put it, is it roaming Fulanis? So both of them are Nigerians. Both of them are Nigerians, only that this one are settled and this one are not settled. So it is the responsibility of government to settle our people, to settle the unsettled Fulanis. And then the settled Fulanis, even though they are settled Fulanis, they are just settled, but their cattle continue moving out. They should all be ranched and kept in one place. We have no business for a Fulani man that is not a Nigerian. Absolutely no business. Because we are Nigerians, first and foremost, as the distinguished senator has said. So if a non-Nigerian comes in, he should be treated as a non-Nigerian, whether it's Fulani or whether it's not Fulani and so on. And when did all these things start? Because Buhari is the government. Because Buhari is the president. Because Buhari is seen as a Fulani man. So therefore, everything about this regime is about Fulanization. It's not true.
Okay. Well, we do know that government has a lot of explaining to do. Both of you have said that there is very little clarity on what this Ruga settlement is about. And there are many more questions that government needs to answer. But we have been speaking with Senator Okejev, who is representing Benue Northwest, and Dr. Umar Ado, who is a historian and a public policy analyst. Gentlemen, we have to thank you both for coming on Sunrise Today this morning.